first questions people ask about the web apps are, how do they find them, where are they, and how do they get started? Office web apps can be installed as part of a SharePoint server deployment. In this case, you'll have access through your SharePoint logon. That would come from your SharePoint administrator or your network administrator. However, web apps can also be accessed via a Windows Live SkyDrive account, and this is a new feature. The SkyDrive account is free, and it offers easy-to-use free server space on Microsoft servers for storing and sharing your files. In order to use it, you have to have a Windows Live ID. Now, don't worry, this isn't complicated. If you use Microsoft in any capacity, you should already have a Windows Live ID, because it's how you access almost everything for Microsoft, whether you're registering for a webinar, downloading content, or accessing the live services and the SkyDrive. So really, having a Windows Live ID makes life easier. Even if you're not sure that you need it, you should go ahead and register. It's free, so why not do it? I won't take you through the entire process, but I did want to take you to the main site where you can create your accounts. It's actually a very easy URL, https://signup.live.com. And I have put copies of these URLs into your project files folder so you can find them and you don't have to remember what all that is. If you're working outside of the US, this particular site may not be available to you. In that case, search for Windows Live and follow whatever link you get from your search engine. Now that we're on the site, I'll show you quickly what it takes. It's a simple process and very similar to most anything that you'd be signing up for on the internet. First of all, if you have a Hotmail, a Messenger, or an Xbox Live account, you can use those accounts. They're considered a Windows Live ID as well. What I really like is you no longer have to sign up for something like Hotmail. You can use your regular email address, so you can type that one in. Or, if you want to get a unique address, you can get a Windows Live email address by simply clicking on this link. Then it will ask you to create a password, and it does want you to have a strong password. 7 to 16 characters, doesn't include common words, uppercase and lowercase characters. It has to be at least 6 characters in length, and it is case sensitive, so make sure to type it carefully. Retype it carefully, and that you remember or somehow record it. Then it will ask for some simple demographic information, first and last names, what country you're from, etc. As I scroll down, we get to a security feature where we have to type in the characters that we see. Because of my poor vision, I have a really hard time with these. But, as is usually the case, there is a button you can click where you can hear this code instead of having to try to decipher what it actually says. Either way that you do it, or if you get one that you just can't make out, you can also generate a new one. You'll type that in, and it verifies that you are a real person and not a computer trying to create fake email accounts to send people spam, which we have to thank Microsoft for. Of course, there's a very brief terms of service that you can read, and at the very bottom of the screen, right in the middle, you'll click on I accept. As I said, it is a very simple process, and then you can use it or not use it as you see fit. Since it doesn't cost anything, I would go ahead and get this part done. The next thing I'll do is take you to another website that I have open. I happen to be in Internet Explorer 8, so I have tabs across the top of my screen, and I've also gone to the site for Silverlight. If you're going to be accessing the Office web apps via the web instead of SharePoint, for example, then you'll be relying on the web server. Even if you're accessing them from SharePoint, SharePoint uses webs as well. So the web server and the capabilities of the browser will be responsible for loading and rendering the interface and all the document content that you see. Now, this is an overview. Rendering site content isn't a big deal for your average web page or even for multimedia pages these days. But remember that the Office web apps are a little bit more than just normal. They're light versions, but they're still Office applications, and there's a lot to them. especially if you have large files. So if it takes a lot of time for some of your elements to load, or they aren't as crisp and clear as you expect them to be, you might consider installing the Silverlight add-in. This will provide a noticeable difference in your performance. The website that I went to is simply the regular Microsoft website, microsoft.com/Silverlight. You can also search for it on Microsoft or using your favorite search engine. All you're going to do is install it and run it. Now, this page actually updates quite frequently, so what you see will probably look very different. You'll see that it is very interactive. They're trying to show you some of the cool things Silverlight does for you. But basically, you'll just follow what you need to do to download it, and it's pretty quick, and then you'll be all done and ready to go. At this point, people usually ask, what exactly does Silverlight do? Well, Silverlight is a browser plugin, so it's an add-on to your browser. It provides a richer browsing experience, so it takes some of the processing burden off of the server and actually puts it on the browser. I think the best way I can explain this is that it's similar to graphics cards. We didn't used to have graphics cards, or at least not ones that had 512 megabytes of space on them, so by enhancing graphics cards, we put all of the graphics and video stuff on that card and take it off of our regular CPU. Well, that's basically what Silverlight is allowing us to do. It takes that entire burden off of the server and puts it in our browser, and we can handle it better than the server that's trying to do 20,000 different things. So it allows our applications to load faster, for our text to be sharper and more accurately rendered, and even for PowerPoint animations and things like that to run more smoothly. So it's really more than just web apps. This is something that you'll use with anything that you use in your browser that has this type of rich content. Because it's an add-in, it's not specific to Internet Explorer. It also works in things like Firefox and Safari, and it supports a wide variety of platforms, including Windows, Mac, Linux, and a variety of others. So those are a couple of things that I strongly suggest you do. Just take a few minutes to get them done, and then they'll be in place when you need them. The next thing, of course, is accessing the web apps themselves. So let's go ahead and move to our last tab and see what this is going to look like. You'll see that the tab says Welcome to Windows Live. I'll click that, and I simply went to the sign-in page. The easy way to get there is http://skydrive.live.com. It's part of Microsoft's suite of live applications that support Windows 7. So again, skydrive.live.com, and now we need to log in. Since I have already been here, I can log in because it remembers me. And if multiple people use this computer, you would see different logons available. You could also sign up if you didn't have a live ID directly from here. You'd skip that first step that I had to do. The next thing I need to do is simply click. I'll type in the password and press enter, and we'll be ready to go. Because I'm logging on to my account and showing you the things that I have on mine, you obviously won't be seeing the same things when you log into your account or the account of someone else. So, for the rest of this lesson, and actually through about lesson 4, you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the demonstration. Let me get you oriented to the interface itself. Starting on the upper right, this tells you who you are logged in as. You can do some different things from the drop-down, and you also have the link where you can sign out. Across the top, we see a navigation bar that has to do with all of the Windows Live stuff. What we're interested in, though, specifically, is the fact that we are in the SkyDrive application, and that's exactly where we want to be. Remember that SkyDrive is free, but it does have limited space. But when we're in SkyDrive, it actually doesn't have anything to do with web apps. In other words, I can store and share any kind of file I want using SkyDrive, whether I'm using the web applications or not. We just happen to be using them together because you have to be using SkyDrive or SharePoint at this point in time in order to use the web apps. Along the left-hand side, we see some folders. You can see all of our folders, recent comments that have been left. We also have some related places that we can go to. And finally, we get to our stuff, which is the set of folders in the middle of the screen. Some of these folders are created by default when the account is initially created, and others we can add. If you look closely, you'll see that they have little icons on them. So we can see that my first two folders, Office New Features and Marketing, are definitely folders that I've created, and they have a little globe on them. If I pause over it, I can see it says Shared with People I Selected. Then I see a couple more folders that have little padlocks on them. My Documents and My Favorites are both created by default with my account. These are actually only available to myself, so they are private. Lastly, I have one called Shared Favorites. We see a little icon with two heads on it, and this says Shared with My Network. These are the three levels that come with Windows SkyDrive. We can keep things for ourselves only. We can keep them where they are available to people who we specifically share information with, and we have a choice of who those people are and what they can do. Or we can actually take them public. Anybody who has the URL or finds the URL can get into these folders. So this is very useful because it gives me a lot of flexibility in what I share with the world versus what I keep to myself. But it's also something I simply need to be aware of. Please don't put your private information into public folders. What I hope you'll also notice, though, is that all of the default folders that come with the SkyDrive account are private unless you specifically change it, so there shouldn't be any unknowns for you. We're not going to go into too many details here, but I did want to show you that this is the general layout. If I want to open something, this is a website, so I can either move over a folder, get the little pointer finger and click, or you can also click on the View All if you have a lot of folders. I'll go ahead and open my Office New Features. Here I can see that I already have 3 files. Now, you can either upload files to your SkyDrive by uploading them from here. You also can save them directly from Office, or you can create files from within your SkyDrive account. We'll go through each one of those. These were previously uploaded, and that's very easy to do by simply clicking on Add Files. You can see that there is a link that's here. This is a normal upload process like you've probably done a million times before, so I won't go over that one. But what I want to show you is that your SkyDrive is just like your hard drive, your server space at Microsoft. It's backed up for you, so it's all nice and secure. You can have folders and subfolders, really as elaborate as you want to get. I can click Create a Folder, and I'll name this Sample Course Files. And then I click the button that says Create Folder. You can follow the breadcrumbs at the top. We came into the Erin account, into my SkyDrive account, into Office New Features. Now we're in a folder called Sample Course Files. And of course, the folder is empty because we haven't added anything to it yet. I'll show you how to create things and how to upload and how to work with the web apps in the next few lessons. But for now, there's your overview. I showed you how to set up your account, how to add Silverlight to optimize your experience, and how to log on to your SkyDrive account, which gives you access to where we'll be able to view and use files using the web apps.